Order The Hunger Games on demand now.
Happy Hunger Games!
Take care of them, get whatever you do, don't let them starve. So, Gary, I understand that your kids love the Hunger Games novels.
I have twins. They read it probably a year before I did, 6 months, a year before I did. They were totally engrossed. Then when I found out they were making it into a movie, I said, oh, do you remember this movie, The Hunger Games? I went, oh, yeah, my God, that'd be great. So then I read it and turned into a kid. Felt the same way they did, yeah.
You know, I haven't met you before, but I thought one of the coolest things when I was doing my research was that you actually did sort of a mini film.
I did.
To get the direct...
To get the gig. Yeah, right. I did, yeah. I did. I made like a 7-minute film. I wanted the studio to understand if I was going to do this movie, what it was and what my vision of it was, and to be really clear. In fact, I was talking to Joe Drake about this before today, and he said, you know, everything that you did, you laid out for us, you know, including a lot of cinematic references, the way I planned to shoot the movie, what I connected to in kids. I interviewed a lot of my kids' friends about it, just to... so that they could understand the way that group related to the material and what they found captivating about it, and what my point of view and take on the material was. And I hired a lot of concept artists to sort of reveal my vision of the Capitol. I think I even did a budget, which thank God they didn't adhere to. So it was good.
One of the things I loved about the film was, I saw it last night, and the green. And the beginning, I wanted to ask you about some of the shots that you chose at the beginning. They weren't typical still movie shots.
No,
I felt
not.
I was in, you know, the urban jungle.
Well, a lot of it shot handheld. It's shot in a very verite sort of style. And that's intentional because it's written in Katniss's point of view. And you want to feel that you're really in her footsteps, and it has to feel completely real. This can't feel like a ginned up universe in any kind of way. So I wanted it to have almost, not a documentary feel, because it's not that, but a very kind of urgent, rougher feeling than kind of a slick tent pole, because that's inappropriate with this material. If I make some glossy, polished Hollywood piece of entertainment about this premise, and I've actually put on The Hunger Games. I haven't just made a movie called The Hunger Games. You know, I've turned into the Capitol at that point. And so it needed to feel kind of urgent and caught and captured in order to feel real, and also in order to feel that you're in Katniss's point of view, which is very subjective and limited to her.
A lot of people don't realize that the panem is actually Latin for bread and circus.
Yes, exactly. Well, panem is Latin for bread. And it relates to the idea of bread and circuses, which is something that, you know, the Romans used to say, give them bread and circuses and they'll stay pacified, essentially. And so they provide them with bread, and this is their circus. And I think Suzanne was pointing to the fact that entertainment can be used as a political instrument, and an instrument of political control. And it's not, you know, our reality television hasn't reached that yet, but it isn't hard to imagine how reality television could be used that way. And so in that respect, you know, it's a cautionary tale. And I think, you know, Suzanne has done us a service that way. You
talk about writing with her. I know you have a writing background, which I think is also incredibly cool. But writing with Suzanne was electrifying.
Yeah, it was. Well, it's really cool to work with a peer who is also the author. I mean, she's, you know, and she was very adroit at adapting to the cinematic medium. There wasn't anything in her that had trouble sort of translating. She sort of took to it easily, and we had a great time together, and she's very, yeah, she's very comfortable in it. And yet, you know, I have the woman who created these characters in the room, so that's a huge help and very nice.
How about working with the cast? Everybody raves about you. Oh, as soon as I heard Gary Ross was on the picture, I was in, and actually, Josh said that you actually called him personally to tell him he'd had the role.
Of course, yeah. I call all my actors personally. Oh yeah, I would never want anyone else to deliver that news. Yeah, that's important. Yeah, no, that's a very personal relationship, and I mean, I love actors. They need a safe, nurtured environment in order to do their job, and my job is to protect them from the technical aspects of filmmaking in order for them to feel safe enough and comfortable enough and unself-conscious enough to find that moment of inspiration and playfulness and invention. And so that's my relationship to them. I don't see them as instruments of me. I see them as very creative people who need an environment that they can flourish in.
3, 2, 1.
Time Warner Cable. Enjoy better.